Hey everybody, welcome to Local 4 Live. We have a lot to talk about in the next 2 hours. First, we're going to dive into the best Cyber Monday deals. The massive online shopping spree is off and running. And then after recent foodborne illness outbreaks, a doctor from Henry Ford is going to join us to talk about how you can keep your family safe. And finally, more snow could be coming to Metro Detroit. Ashley is going to track all of that for us.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Well, again, thank you for joining us here for Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. Our first conversation is about the weather. A live look now on the Upper Peninsula, where Mount Ripley is starting to look like a ski mountain after Mother Nature dropped a large dose of winter.
Looks like Local 4 studio.
That's me. That's a graphic over there. That's a background. If we want to, we can show Ashley as well. Ashley is here to talk about the forecast because... we'll get to her, maybe? No, that's not her.
No.
There she is. Hi, Ashley Barrissey.
Hi, Nick Monticelli.
You know, you compare what we got in this storm to the Upper Peninsula, and it's like nothing.
Right, I mean, there were blizzard warnings up in the western half of the UP, and yeah, I was checking the snow cover right now up there, and about 20 inches in some areas, and so yeah, our 5-inch-ish and lesser amounts in some spots, it wasn't really too bad, but it was enough for kids to have fun.
So you can have fun or inconvenient if you were trying to, shovel off the driveway or get it off your car.
Or travel, because it was such a big travel weekend. And so we're still looking at some travel trouble south of the state line today where there are winter weather advisories, but it's the calm before our next little minor accumulating snow. Here's a look right now at Campus Martius, where we sit at 19 in the city, but Ann Arbor has now fallen to 2.
What?
2 degrees right now. That's the air temperature. Ann Arbor always trends a little cooler. I had a viewer email me earlier today and was like, I always notice Ann Arbor's cooler. It's a valley where we're taking, they're down. Yeah, so it's going to be a little cooler there.
What's the feels like in Ann Arbor?
Well, calm wind right now, so that at least they have that going for them. With the calm wind, there should be just a feels like of 2 as opposed to below 0. But yeah, 13, the actual temperature in Pontiac, 16 in Monroe. So it's a chilly start. It's going to be chilly all week long. I mean, check out the 24-hour temperature change. 31 degrees colder in Ann Arbor than where we were this time yesterday. So hopefully the kids got out and had some fun. I'm gonna have to cough.
You're fighting it. That's what happens when you work on Thanksgiving during the parade.
Why don't you give the forecast?
Oh, I don't even know what these graphics mean. All right, well, at 10 a.m., it's going to be 23 degrees. Today's high is 30. Next graphic? Ashley's out. All right, Ashley's out. Let me see her clicker. I'll just press some buttons.
That's it.
Oh, that's it.
First weather.
This is the first. Oh, that's right. All right. A high today of 30 degrees, and it gets colder after that. I paid attention earlier. The temperatures just drop and drop and drop. Go get some water, Ashley. We'll see you in a minute. Now to your top headlines. In less than an hour, 4 people charged in the death of a 5-year-old boy at the Oxford Center in Troy will return to court for their preliminary hearings. The hearings began actually back in September and are resuming after a 2-month pause. Tamla Peterson, the CEO, and Gary Markin, the manager, Jeffrey Marsteller, the safety director, and Alina Moffitt are all facing charges in Thomas Cooper's death. The 5-year-old died in January inside of a hyperbaric chamber at the center. Prosecutors say this tragedy was preventable, alleging the workers ignored safety protocols and failed to follow guidelines. Well, today, a Pontiac mother who made national headlines for allegedly abandoning her 3 kids will be in court. Kelly Bryant faces charges of child abuse and welfare fraud. She'll be in court for a pretrial hearing. That's a chance for both sides to work out a deal before the case goes to trial. A Detroit man facing decades in prison for sexually exploiting multiple children, 27-year-old Joshua Brown pleaded guilty to several federal charges. In August of 2024, he was caught at a Bless Bloomfield Park with a 12-year-old girl he allegedly met on Snapchat. Brown Hill is his sentencing is later today. The Oakland County Prosecutor's Office will be reviewing a case deciding whether or not to charge a man in the alleged killing of a family member. Oakland County deputies found 52-year-old Antonio Craig dead inside of a pickup truck on Karen Court in Pontiac on Saturday night. Detectives tracked the suspect to a Waterford Township restaurant parking lot where they arrested the 26-year-old man. Investigators are working to figure out a motive there.
We were very quick to catch him, but motive and some of the supporting evidentiary things they're working through right now. It was between family members.
Detectives plan to turn that case over to the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office tomorrow for a review of the charges. Let's take a live look at Michigan State University now, where football coach Jonathan Smith has been fired after just 2 seasons with the program. The decision comes after a disappointing 4-8 season where the Spartans lost 8 of their last 9 games. Smith's overall record at MSU was 9-15. He is walking away, though, with more than $30 million, which was left on his 7-year contract. As for Smith's replacement, the Detroit Free Press is reporting MSU plans to hire former Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald. After a busy weekend of in-store shopping, Cyber Monday is off and running. Retailers are pushing to keep that momentum going after a record-breaking Black Friday. Billions of dollars were spent, $11 billion online alone. Consumers also spent a record $6.4 billion online on Thanksgiving Day. The busiest hours were from 10 o'clock in the morning until 2 p.m. $12.5 million poured into shopping carts online every single minute. This year, Cyber Monday sales are expected to top $14 billion, and many turning to AI to help with the gift buying process. So let's just kind of run through this. Producer Mary is going to try this live. Let's say you're looking for a gift for an 8-year-old who loves to bake and cook. All you have to do is type it in. So Producer Mary just typed it in using ChatGPT. It will spit out a bunch of ideas. You can see them all there. What's on the list? We've got kids cooking and a baking set, right? Personalized apron and a chef hat. I like it. All right, in the weeks leading up to the peak holiday spending, ChatGPT maker OpenAI partnered with Walmart and Target. Over half of shoppers said on a recent survey they plan to use AI this year, some saying they're already using it.
I talk to ChatGPT like they're a human being, and they respond to me the same way.
AI does not know my family as well as I do.
AI is making the shopping experience more simple and easy and automated for our customers.
All right, let's take a look at Amazon now. Here are just some of the deals you can find on that website on this Cyber Monday. Experts say you'll find the best deals on apparel and computers, and retailers are using AI to make shopping easier than ever. We're going to be looking at some deals throughout the entire show here on different sites. We've seen a recent string of foodborne illness outbreaks in the country. Coming up next, we're going to talk with someone from Henry Ford Health about what to know and how to keep your family safe. Welcome back, 8:09 here on your Monday. Now to recent foodborne illness outbreaks and how they could impact your health. We're going to start with a botulism outbreak linked to ByHeart infant formula. At least 31 babies in 15 states have gotten sick in this outbreak. Last week, lab tests revealed all of the company's products may have been contaminated with the rare and potentially deadly illness. ByHeart recalled all of its formula last month, but the FDA says some products are still on the shelves. Also last month, there was an outbreak of listeria linked to pasta meals. At least 6 people died from listeria tied to prepared pasta meals from Nate's Fine Foods. Several grocery stores had to issue recalls for the products, including Kroger, Walmart, and Trader Joe's. An investigation into that outbreak is still ongoing. Now, with more on what we need to know about these outbreaks, we are bringing in Beth Thayer. She is the director of Henry Ford Centers for Health Promotion and Disease Prevention. Beth, thank you so much for joining us here. Kind of walk us through what these processes look like. When there is an issue with whatever product it is, what happens?
Well, first I wanted to just say thanks for having me, but secondly to say it can be really scary hearing about foodborne illness outbreaks and food recalls. And we know that like 1 in 6 Americans will suffer from some form of foodborne illness. During the year, 128,000 will be hospitalized, 3,000 will unfortunately die. So it is scary to hear about it. But the good news is that most foodborne illness does happen in the home. So we do have some control. But getting back to the outbreaks that we're hearing about now, you can always follow any of the food recalls that are happening on websites. The FDA and USDA will list those out for you. And then, when you know that you have a food, certainly don't eat it, don't open it, and follow the rules that are on the website, which will typically be either bringing back the food if you haven't opened it, or tossing it and coming back in for a refund.
Sure. So in the case of prepared food that's already made and packaged for you that you're buying at a grocery store, like this pasta or the infant formula, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. Unfortunately, that just becomes bad luck, right?
Yes and no. In some cases, when food recalls happen, it's not because there is a food safety concern, it's because there's the potential for a food safety concern or some kind of contamination. So it's not always bad news. Sometimes it is just being safe. But depending on what it is, the bacteria or the virus that happens to be, again, you do have some control in your own home. So if you're following basic rules of keeping everything clean, keeping things separated, and then keeping things cooked or chilled to the appropriate temperatures, you may also be able to kill the contaminants and be safe in that way.
Now, obviously, outbreak is an appropriate word because of the number of things that we're dealing with here, but it's also a scary word. And realistically, these are somewhat isolated incidents to 2 different manufacturers that we're talking about here. And for the most part, the folks that are making this, it is done properly, and the majority of food is safe, right?
Yes, the majority of food is safe. And even with those recalls and the foodborne illness outbreaks, you mentioned the infants, there are populations that are more susceptible to foodborne outbreaks. And of course, those are the ones we're more concerned about. So elderly people, the infants and small children who haven't been able to build up their immune system appropriately, and those, of course, who are immune compromised. If you're, chemotherapy or HIV or AIDS, those are the populations that we are most concerned about because they won't have as much of the ability to fight off the contaminants.
Yeah. I know you started talking about this, but if we could dive into it just a little bit further in terms of what you can do at home. So let's say that we are buying the raw meats or whatever it might be, the proper preparation, the proper storage, cooking them at the right temperature, all of that is for a reason, right?
Yes, for sure. And again, we have a lot of control in our own home. And so, again, making sure that everything is clean, your hands, your surfaces, that you're washing your fruits and vegetables. The one thing I would say don't clean, and I've seen people do this, is poultry. It's coming back up of Thanksgiving, but I've seen people wash their chicken and turkey before they put it in the oven. And all that's doing is just spreading the contaminants around the kitchen. When in fact, if you're just sticking it into the oven and cooking it to the proper temperature, that's going to kill those contaminants. So I say clean everything, except the poultry.
I'm so glad
And
you
then,
said
of
that,
course-
because I'm sure there are probably hundreds and hundreds of people, if not thousands, watching who say, oh, I'm doing that wrong then.
Yeah, I think it's a generational thing or something that's been passed down. But yes, please do not be washing your chicken or your turkey prior to cooking it, because again, really, all you're doing is you're spreading those contaminants around the kitchen, even making them airborne. So it's, yeah, please don't do that.
Gotcha. Okay, one last question for you. Your thoughts and tips and tricks on leftovers and bacteria and illness.
Yeah. Yes. And so, once it is pulled out of the oven or pulled out of the refrigerator, the clock is sort of ticking. Contaminants really like the temperatures between 40 and 145 degrees Fahrenheit. And so that's when they will start to multiply. And of course, the more they multiply, the more likely it is that you are going to be ill. So it's the 2-hour rule is the one that we use. If you've pulled it out of the refrigerator or pulled it out of the oven, again, the clock starts ticking. If you've hit 2 hours, it's time to throw that out. If it has not clicked 2 hours, then you can put it in the refrigerator or freeze it. Use shallow containers so it will chill more quickly and keep those contaminants from growing.
And how long is it safe to keep in the fridge?
About 2 to 3 days. In fact, if you have leftovers in your refrigerator right now from Thanksgiving, it is time to toss those.
Oh boy, the honey baked ham sometimes sits in there for weeks at a time. All right, Beth, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, 8:16 here on Monday. We got some snow over the weekend, and now temperatures are taking a tumble, just diving down. Ashley is going to track our work week forecast as winter begins to take hold when we come back. And as we go to break, we're going to take a look at some deals that you can score on this Cyber Monday. Take a look at this. Do you have someone in your life that is looking for a new pair of headphones? Producer Mary purchasing something for her favorite anchor? Amazon currently has a deal for a pair of Beat Studio Pro headphones for $150. The usual price is $350. Welcome back, everybody. A live look now at the Muskegon Luge Adventure Sports Park. Good news for Fat Tire bike fans. Muskegon Luge Adventure Sports Park is opening up new wooded trails for the Global Fat Bike Day Ride this December. Now, usually these trails do not allow bikers, but the park got special permission from the Michigan DNR to let Fat Tire bikers hit the pass. The park is located within the Muskegon State Park. All right, we're going to take a live look at downtown Detroit right now. Some rare sunshine we haven't seen in a couple of days. The challenge, though, the temperatures are going down and down and down. Here's Ashley with your forecast.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, happy meteorological winter. That's December 1st for our record keeping, and December bringing in an Arctic tundra. As we look at the snow cover, all of Michigan from the UP to the lower peninsula under at least a coating of snow. The deeper shade of blue that you see here across southeastern Michigan indicates mainly about a 4 to 6 inch snow depth across the area. West side of the state, areas that you see in pink, upward of a foot. The purple about 8 inches to about 12 inches, and otherwise a good portion of the UP has more than a foot of snow. And we're going to be adding to that depth as we head into the overnight. Not as much snow as we saw over the weekend, but nonetheless, we're definitely dealing with the chance for some light snow accumulation. So snow totals over the weekend, just to recap in case you didn't see these totals, about 6 inches in Lake Orion, White Lake, and Flushing. Washtenaw County got quite a bit of that snow as well, just under that 6-inch mark, but more than about 5.5 inches from Chelsea, Pinckney into Ann Arbor. Even Manchester picking up 5.5 inches. Novi, 5.2 inches, right at 5 inches in Lapeer, and Howell, Dearborn Heights, just over about 4.5 inches of snow. So it was enough for a lot of folks to make snowmen across the area. And this one, a picture of Aiden and his snowman with the Old English D. So thank you to Ed for sharing this on My Picks. And we continue to urge you to send in your fun winter pictures via My Picks on clickondetroit.com and our Forewarn Weather app. Otherwise, your weather story looking ahead to what's going to be a very chilly week. We get more accumulation tonight. We'll talk about totals and timeline in just a moment here, but staying very chilly all week long with highs at least 10 degrees below average. In fact, I don't think we get above the freezing mark over the next several days. Then we could have a little more minor accumulation midweek with rounds of snow in the forecast. So about 30 for the afternoon high today, holding on to that winter gray cloud cover. And it's going to be well after sunset late this evening that we start to see some of that light snow arrive. Here's the timeline. So I'm going to stop the clock just after 10. That's where you see that we're draped with very light snow, but it'll be persistent over at least a few hours. That'll bring some accumulation. Really doesn't look like it lifts much farther north than M59, and a lot of this is out of here before we even get to 6 o'clock in the morning. So as long as roads get treated, I think we should be okay, but still some of those surface street sidewalks could be slick tomorrow. I would say give yourself a few extra minutes in the morning, set the alarm clocks early, whether it's to just throw some salt down in your driveway or leave a little extra early if you think your roads haven't been treated. That snowfall forecast shows that we're just getting a dusting in the thumb at most, but around M59, between about a half an inch to an inch, you get south of I-696, and that's where I think we're in that 1 to 1.5 range. Winter car supplies, just a good reminder, make sure that you have all of this in your car, from first aid kits to car batteries, blankets, sandbags, because you never know when you could get stranded if you just spin out on some of those slick roads. If you are traveling, please note that there are winter weather advisories and winter storm watches draping areas just south of the state line for today into tomorrow, so that could hinder some travel. Otherwise, that's that brushing of some light accumulation come late Wednesday, but it looks like we'll get a more impactful system by the later part of the weekend or even early next week, as you see right here by Saturday night towards the Chicagoland area. So we'll keep you posted on that. Here's your 7-day forecast. Like I said, it's below average. We fall into the upper 20s for highs Thursday, Friday, with those feels like temperatures likely in the low teens and single digits.
All right, Ash, thank you so much. People in Royal Oak are reporting a series of car break-ins. Shantae Passmore is going to talk to the police department about what these criminals are looking for and how to reduce your risk of becoming a victim. And as we had to break, another live look at another Cyber Monday deal, this time from Walmart. Here's a look at some of the deals for those tool lovers out there. You can save $50 on a wet dry vacuum or even $100 on a new car battery. Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli with a Local 4 News update. Today, 4 people are heading back to court for the death of a 5-year-old boy. Thomas Cooper was killed in January when a hyperbaric chamber he was getting medical treatment in exploded. The CEO and 3 workers are accused of ignoring safety policies leading to his death. Their preliminary hearing starts in less than half an hour at 9 a.m. There's also another 90 minutes of Local 4 Live over on Local 4 Plus. Residents in Royal Oak are reporting a series of car break-ins. Our Shantae Passmore is going to share what these criminals are looking for and how you can reduce your risk of becoming a victim. Plus, we're going to talk with an economist from U of M on the new economic outlook report released for the state of Michigan. And Detroit is the place to be, and there's a race to build space for major events. We are asking, though, what is getting in the way? Also, Ashley has a look at your forecast with some more snow coming tonight. We'll talk about that over on Local 4 Live.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. We're going to start with the neighborhood crime alerts. Right now, Royal Oak police are investigating a recent string of stolen items out of cars. There were 3 incidents spanning just a weekend alone on South Rembrandt, East Hudson, and South Vermont. Investigators tell Local 4 all of this was preventable. Shantae Passmore has what else police are saying and how the community is reacting.
Hey there, it's no secret the bad guys are always looking for an opportunity to commit a crime. And right now, Royal Oak police say don't give them a reason to. Instead, block your ride.
Just past 2 a.m., what's this guy doing in someone's driveway? The Ring camera video shows a prowler going from car to car. The tipster sharing these images of somebody clearly rummaging inside. Thankfully, nothing taken. But not the same story elsewhere in Royal Oak.
Sometimes you could say it's organized because it's obvious there's a crew of people. Sometimes it's just petty opportunistic theft that occurs.
Royal Oak Police shares how in the overnight hours of November 15th, it received multiple reports of stolen items out of cars. Locations include the 600 block of South Rembrandt, the 2200 block of East Hudson, and 200 block of South Vermont. The thieves made off with jewelry and wallets.
You can't trust anybody.
The common denominator, unlocked vehicles.
This general pocket of Royal Oak feels very secure, but I acknowledge that we live in a big city.
Royal Oak Police tells Local 4 it's not seeing an uptick in the crime trend. The goal, to keep it that way.
It's common sense. You don't leave a laptop or a wallet with credit cards in it. I think sometimes people, maybe they think they lock their, I don't know, I don't understand that one.
Yeah, it's just common sense. You really want to make sure that your car is locked. In fact, it's really the first step in deterring crime. And some people may say, you know, I don't want them to have to bust through my windows in case they really want to rummage through and take something out of my vehicle. But Royal Oak Police says most often the crooks will keep moving if they know that your car is locked. We're in Royal Oak. I'm Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
All right, Shantae, thank you much. Joining me now to talk more about this, our crime and safety expert, former police officer, Darnell Beckburn. Thank you for being here, Darnell. As the gentleman said, this seems like a common sense kind of issue, right?
Sometimes common sense ain't too common, unfortunately. And I mean, we all make mistakes, Nick, but one of the biggest things that you can do in this type of situations, obviously, is lock your door or lock your door. Yeah. It rhymes, so maybe you can remember it better, but lock the door. But even more so, don't leave valuables in the car in plain sight and open view.
That way, if you forget to lock your door, there's nothing worth stealing in there.
Exactly. Even if somebody does go, I mean, you feel violated anyway, but nothing's worth stealing. So I try to tell people, if you do have valuables, a lot of times, especially with the newer cars, they have key fobs.
Right.
And so here's my suggestion is that, you know, put your key fob near your laptop if it's in the passenger seat of your car, or put it with your wallet if you don't, for some reason, don't have it in there. So you're like, I got to have my keys, maybe to get in the house. Keep the key fob right here. Let me grab my laptop.
Let me take this out of here with
exactly. Let me get my money. Let me get whatever it is. And so that's something that could help. But really, just not leaving things in plain sight is the best way.
I had a friend once who shall remain nameless.
That means I know them here.
Who likes to keep all of his stuff in his car so he's ready to go in the morning. His keys, his wallet, his computer, and he would just, you know, when they had the keypads, you could just type in your code and open the door. So everything was good to go. But finally, he realized probably not the greatest of an idea.
Yeah, it's not. And people do that, but it's not convenient if somebody breaks into your car and steals something.
Right.
So making sure, again, don't leave valuables there is the best thing. And lock the door. You know, we just recently got a new car. My wife got a new car. Let me state that properly.
John didn't get a new car.
There's no we. She got a new. Rhonda got a new car. But you know, now it's the procedure of locking the door is different. You got to make sure you lock it. And so just muscle memory, lock the door. Just keep thinking about that and don't leave valuables out.
You know, I'll say some of the newer vehicles have enhanced features now. Like I've got a truck that when I walk away and I have the key with me, it will automatically lock after 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Just in case.
That's what our old car did. The current car that she has now doesn't do that. And so, you know, now she has to get back into the habit of
reminding to lock
it yourself, or just, you know, touch the little key thing. But
there's something about you just have this kind of this false sense of security when you park in your driveway.
Bad idea. You're right. And you know, nothing's worse than somebody stealing something from inside or from in front of your house, in your house. But it happens. And just like we saw this guy, he walks around. Opportunity. These are opportunistic crimes.
They're just checking the doors.
They're just checking doors. Yeah. If it's unlocked, hey, you left me something. Let me go grab it. You know. So again, it's more opportunity oftentimes with people. And one thing Shantae mentioned earlier in the package is about the fear of if you don't lock the door, somebody will break your window. That's not true. I mean, if they're going to break in and steal something, this is more opportunity to just grab the lock and unlock it, or pull the door if it's unlocked, than to break a window. That doesn't happen.
If they're going to break a window, they're going to break a window, right? But it's like you said, more often than not, they're just looking to see if it's unlocked.
It's unlocked, yeah.
If it's locked, they're usually going to keep on going.
They're going to keep on going, absolutely.
All right, Darnell, thank you so much, man. Appreciate that.
It, brother, always.
Good, happy you got a new car.
I didn't get a new car. Ronnie got a new car. Thanks, Nick.
We're going to break down the political climate in Washington, D.C. next. We're going to talk about the issues impacting us in the political world nationally and here in Michigan. Also, let's take one more look at some Cyber Monday deals. There's downtown Detroit, but here's a look at Target's website. They're showing some of the best deals they have right now for this holiday season. Right now over at Target, Darnell, you can get 40% off some toys, some plush toys, some Lego sets. How about Uno?
Legos, Uno.
Right?
Yes.
What's Phase 10?
Oh, dude, it's fun. Just stack Phase 10. It's like a fast car.
I've never heard of Phase 10. Maybe I'm living under a rock.
You are, buddy. You got kids. You should know about that.
Welcome back, everybody. Now to a conversation about the issues impacting us in the political world nationally and here in Michigan. Jason Colthorpe gathered a panel of 4 insiders to talk on Flashpoint, and they started with the controversy with lawmakers and the military.
All right, let's introduce the panel this morning. Caitlin Buss is the deputy editorial page editor at the Detroit News. Orlando Bailey, executive director of Outlier Media. Jason Rowe is a political strategist and the head of Rowe Strategic, and Portia Roberson is the vice chair of the Michigan Democratic Party. Issue 1 is telling the military not to follow illegal orders, an act of treason or sedition. Caitlin.
Of course. Look, I don't think it was a good move. I'm not sure why they felt the need to put that video out, but I think they were perhaps trying to bait Trump, and he walked right into it. So at this point, whether or not that was a good idea is irrelevant, because Trump has already kind of trumped it with his own statements. I don't think it's a good idea to sow discord among the ranks of the military. I think there's more responsible ways to do that.
As we tape this, by the way, I should point out, Orlando, the FBI currently interviewing all 6 of those on the video, but talk about the strategy part of this. I think that's got to play in here somehow.
I think it's a politically, I think it's a political move on part of them to do that. We're talking about 6 centrist Democrats. These are not folks who are far to the left. These are not folks that anyone would consider progressive. These are former CIA alum or veterans within the military. And what they're saying is, according to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, it is a service member's duty not to follow illegal orders. And this is coming at the wake of this tension with Venezuela, and we're blowing up boats in the Pacific, and
that was the subtext.
The military siege on cities, particularly black cities. So these are folks that probably understand some of the confusion and gaps of information that the public and some of the members of the military probably have when carrying out these orders.
Jason, not surprising, Mike Rogers jumped on that, calling it, saying they got caught red-handed because they later admitted that we don't know of any illegal orders he's given so far.
Yeah, I thought Rogers was very measured compared to Trump. You know, when you look at the video that he put out, listen, they wanted to be provocative. That was the goal of this video. So none of them should be surprised that it elicited the response that it did. Obviously, like all things Trump, he overcompensated for the moment. And unfortunately, he probably made a star out of Senator Mark Kelly, who is rumored as a presidential candidate. And he's certainly helped Alyssa Slotkin. I think of the 6, those are the 2 that are relatively household names in national politics. And I think the 2 of them are going to raise a ton of money based on Trump's reaction to what they did.
Portia, the first thing I thought is they had to know what the next consequence would be to this. So what's the end game for them? Is it to advance what those individuals' careers are?
I don't know that it's about advancing their individual careers. I think that to a certain extent there was some provocation on the part of Trump to see how he would react to it, and as the course, he reacted in a way that, you know, shows how non-presidential he can be at times. I think, you know, I actually thought that maybe they were aware of some instances where military was being coerced or sort of pressured into doing things that were illegal, in talking about bombing boats, that we don't have any sort of evidence that the people on those boats are drug runners and are bringing drugs into this country. So I think what we're seeing again is a reaction from Trump that is always above and beyond. He's asking for, you know, death. He's talking about hanging folks. I mean, those are kind of things that I think some of this may have been to show folks, again, where the president is. And we talk about violence amongst elected officials, right? And not calling for violence and being very measured in our comments when we're talking about things like violence. Yeah. Here we have a president who continues to ask for violence against elected officials.
Well, and Jason, I'll come back to you. Speaking of Trump reactions, it had to make MAGA or all Republicans kind of just do a double take to see he and Mamdani in the Oval Office chumming it up this week. And
I loved it.
Not to mention Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning, and you had to be thinking, what planet is this?
What a week we have endured. Yeah, I mean, listen, we've been living through a lot of dystopian things over the last 10 years, and this certainly takes the cake. And listen, you know, the MTG thing, no one was more obnoxious in being a Trump enforcer in Congress than Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I think what happened over the last couple of weeks helps underscore the fact that MAGA isn't about a political movement. It is about fidelity to one man. And it doesn't matter how loyal you've been to that man. If you decide that you have a disagreement, and this is one, by the way, it's not like she conjured up something that was inconsistent with his agenda. He campaigned on this. Mm-hmm. This didn't come out of nowhere. She held him accountable to his own rhetoric, and now she's been cast aside. And then with Mamdani, I think there's a lot of conservatives that are furious over that, because this is a guy that people are prepared to replace Nancy Pelosi as she retires and exits the stage as the face of the Democratic Party. Just as people tell me they want to beat Rashida Tlaib. Listen, if there's one Democrat left standing in Michigan, I want it to be Rashida Tlaib. I want her to be the avatar for all Democrats in Michigan. That's, I think, what conservatives had hoped with Mamdani. But now, all of a sudden, we see a brofest between him and the president.
Yeah, I think they were counting on that being the face of the enemy for a while. But what did you make of those two headlines this week, Orlando?
Oh, man, I actually thought it was hilarious to see the two of them together. You know, one of the things that I thought about is President Trump's business interests in the city of New York. He doesn't need a real enemy in the executive seat in the city of New York, in the person of Mamdani. And, you know, as far as the Marjorie Taylor Greene piece, you know, a lot of the violence that she has come up against and the threats that she has come up against from the MAGA wing, she helped to fan that flame previously, and now that has turned on her. It really is, you know, something to watch. And also the foreshadowing is just crazy that this is the thing. She's standing with women who were victims of Jeffrey Epstein and wanting these files to be released, and that made her an enemy to the president. It's really...
Speaking of foreshadowing, Caitlin, do you think this is this a one-off with Marjorie Taylor Greene, or there's kind of rumblings that other members of Republicans in Congress might just resign? I don't know if I buy that.
I think there's a huge split happening in MAGA. I think we're seeing that, you know, it wasn't as serious about governing, perhaps, as it needed to be. It was more of a revolutionary coalition that needed to incite passion, and they're not serious about governing. I think that's kind of what she's hinting at, but also she's been part of the problem. I think there will be other defections. I think people are fatigued by Congress. I think it's a cesspool at this point, and I take people somewhat at their word that they don't think they can get done what they came there to do, and they want to leave. On the Mamdani thing, I actually was not surprised at all to see him sitting there. I was not surprised to see them getting along. He's a surprising winner, and Trump can't shy away from that, right? He has to embrace that, and so he's going to hope that he's successful. What that ultimately means policy-wise, I have no idea, but it was really, it did not surprise me at all to see them getting along.
I know.
They're both good at
with
this.
The words.
They're both good at this, but I think this also points to the populism that Trump has made popular.
He used.
Is going to come now for Democratic Socialists, and people are going to switch over to that because that's kind of the shared principle among them, and we saw it play out.
Now we're going to have much more from that panel in our next hour, with the panel talking about the races for Senate and governor. Well, it's now December 1st, and Mother Nature is bringing the Arctic tundra to Metro Detroit. Ashley is going to come back with your chilly forecast and some more snow moving in when we come back. But also, let's take another look at some Cyber Monday deals. To anybody looking to create a gift for someone, Michael's has some big deals today. Take a look at this. Some blanket yarn is on sale for 35% off, and you have an additional buy one, get one half off sale. So if you're looking to knit or crochet that blanket or hat for your loved one, now is the time to shop, and I imagine Mary is going to be checking her shopping cart out in just a moment. You are? Who's it for? Welcome back. Let's take a look at some MyPicks. Here's a photo from a MyPick viewer, a Local 4 viewer, of a snow bear eating honey. That's pretty cute. Well, if you want to submit your own MyPicks, you can scan the QR code there on your screen. You can also go to our website and click on Detroit.com and go to the MyPicks page. All right, let's talk about the weather. As a freighter rolls through the Detroit River there, as a beautiful shot over downtown Detroit. What you can't feel through your screen are the temperatures, though, because they are going down and even further. Ashley's got your forecast. Hey, Ash.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, happy meteorological winter. That's December 1st for our record keeping, and December bringing in an Arctic tundra. As we look at the snow cover, all of Michigan from the UP to the lower peninsula under at least a coating of snow. The deeper shade of blue that you see here across southeastern Michigan indicates mainly about a 4 to 6 inch snow depth across the area. West side of the state, areas that you see in pink, upward of a foot. The purple about 8 inches to about 12 inches, and otherwise a good portion of the UP has more than a foot of snow. And we're going to be adding to that depth as we head into the overnight. Not as much snow as we saw over the weekend, but nonetheless, we're definitely dealing with the chance for some light snow accumulation. So snow totals over the weekend, just to recap in case you didn't see these totals, about 6 inches in Lake Orion, White Lake, and Flushing. Washtenaw County got quite a bit of that snow as well, just under that 6 inch mark, but more than about 5.5 inches from Chelsea, Pinckney into Ann Arbor. Even Manchester picking up 5.5 inches. Novi, 5.2 inches, right at 5 inches in Lapeer, and Howell, Dearborn Heights, just over about 4.5 inches of snow. So it was enough for a lot of folks to make snowmen across the area. And this one, a picture of Aiden and his snowman with the Old English D. So thank you to Ed for sharing this on MyPicks. And we continue to urge you to send in your fun winter pictures via MyPicks on clickondetroit.com and our Forewarned Weather app. Otherwise, your weather story looking ahead to what's going to be a very chilly week. We get more accumulation tonight. We'll talk about totals and timeline in just a moment here. but staying very chilly all week long with highs at least 10 degrees below average. In fact, I don't think we get above the freezing mark over the next several days. Then we could have a little more minor accumulation midweek with rounds of snow in the forecast. So about 30 for the afternoon high today, holding on to that winter gray cloud cover. And it's going to be well after sunset late this evening that we start to see some of that light snow arrive. Here's the timeline. So I'm going to stop the clock just after 10. That's where you see that we're draped with very light snow, but it'll be persistent over at least a few hours. That'll bring some accumulation. Really doesn't look like it lifts much farther north than M59, and a lot of this is out of here before we even get to 6 o'clock in the morning. So as long as roads get treated, I think we should be okay, but still some of those surface street sidewalks could be slick tomorrow. I would say give yourself a few extra minutes in the morning, set the alarm clocks early, whether it's to just throw some salt down in your driveway or leave a little extra early if you think your roads haven't been treated. That snowfall forecast shows that we're just getting a dusting in the thumb at most, but around M59, between about a half an inch to an inch, you get south of I-696, and that's where I think we're in that 1 to 1.5 range. Winter car supplies, just a good reminder, make sure that you have all of this in your car, from first aid kits to car batteries, blankets, sandbags, because you never know when you could get stranded if you just spin out on some of those slick roads. If you are traveling, please note that there are winter weather advisories and winter storm watches draping areas just south of the state line for today into tomorrow, so that could hinder some travel. Otherwise, that's that brushing of some light accumulation come late Wednesday, but it looks like we'll get a more impactful system by the later part of the weekend or even early next week, as you see right here by Saturday night towards the Chicagoland area. So we'll keep you posted on that. Here's your 7-day forecast. Like I said, it's below average. We fall into the upper 20s for highs Thursday, Friday, with those feels like temperatures likely in the low teens and single digits.
Ashley, thank you much. 2 history-making moments happened on this day in history. Next, we're going to look at how one woman changed civil rights history forever and how one innovation forever changed the automotive industry. And we continue our Cyber Monday deals, this time over on Amazon. Look at some of these deals. Do you have someone who loves to bake and maybe getting into bread baking? Yeah, these are all geared towards Mary and her family, aren't they? How about getting a sourdough starter kit? You can get this one 35% off Amazon right now. Welcome back, everybody. Today marks the 70th anniversary of a huge milestone in American history involving Detroit's own Rosa Parks. December 1st, 1955 was the day Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a bus to a white passenger in Montgomery, Alabama. Of course, her stand sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and helped ignite the civil rights movement. You can see the actual bus, which you're looking at right here. This is on display at the Henry Ford Museum. It is offering free admission and parking from 9:30 in the morning until 5 p.m. Also on this day, back in 1913, Henry Ford introduced the first moving assembly line, cutting car production time from 12 hours to under 2. Ford's Model T launched in 1908. It was built to be an affordable car for the masses. By breaking the assembly into simple steps and using conveyor belts, Ford revolutionized car manufacturing, and by 1924, the 10 millionth Model T rolled off the line, making cars accessible to everyone. Ford's innovation changed the automotive industry forever. Much more coming up here on Local 4 Live at 9 a.m. We're going to go over your headlines, the Michigan economic outlook as we head into the next year, why experts think things are slowing down, and what that means for your job and your money. And then a new study is finding getting a child a smartphone at a young age could actually impact their health and not just their mental health. Plus, if you need some gift ideas for the kids in your life, Consumer Reports has options that take their development and safety into account. More news, more weather, another hour of Local 4 Live. Stay with us here on Local 4 Plus. Hey everybody, we are following several big stories in the next hour here on Local 4 Live. You're looking live at 696 there in Southfield, where we could be in for a dicey morning commute tomorrow. More snow is on the way after that big first snowfall that we had over the weekend. Ashley Barresi is tracking all of that, and we are talking about growing Michigan's economy and what it means for you, why experts think we could be in for a slow start to the new year. Plus, if you're one of many parents taking advantage of today's Cyber Monday deals, we have some gift ideas for kids that take their development and safety into account. Local 4 Live starts right now.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
And welcome back. I'm Nick Monticelli. Let's get you caught up with the big news headlines of the day as we get back to that routine following that long Thanksgiving weekend. At any moment now, 4 people charged in the death of a 5-year-old boy at the Oxford Center in Troy will return to court for their preliminary hearings. The hearings began in September and are resuming after a 2-month pause. Tamala Peterson, who is the CEO, Gary Markin, the manager, Jeffrey Mosteller, the safety director, and Alita Moffitt, they're all facing charges in Thomas Cooper's death. The 5-year-old died in January inside of a hyperbaric chamber at that center. Prosecutors say this tragedy was preventable, alleging the workers ignored safety protocols and failed to follow guidelines. We're going to have more from the courtroom all day long on clickondetroit.com and in later editions of Local 4 News. Also in court today in Oakland County, a Pontiac mother who made national headlines for allegedly abandoning her 3 kids. Kelly Bryant is facing charges of child abuse and welfare fraud. She's going to be in court for a pretrial hearing, a chance for both sides to work out a deal before the case goes to trial. And the Detroit man is facing decades in prison for sexually exploiting multiple children. 27-year-old Joshua Brown Hill pleaded guilty to several federal charges. In August of 2024, he was caught at a West Bloomfield park with the 12-year-old girl he allegedly met on Snapchat. Brown Hill is set to be sentenced today. The Oakland County Prosecutor's Office will be reviewing a case deciding whether or not to charge a man in the alleged killing of a family member. Oakland County deputies found 52-year-old Antonio Craig dead inside of a pickup truck on Karen Court in Pontiac on Saturday night. Detectives tracked the suspect to a Waterford Township restaurant parking lot where they arrested the 26-year-old man. Investigators are working to figure out a motive.
We were very quick to catch him, but motive and some of the supporting evidentiary things they're working through right now. It was between family members.
The detectives plan to turn the case over to the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office tomorrow for the charges. Well, getting a live look at Michigan State University, where football coach Jonathan Smith has been fired after just 2 seasons with the program. This decision comes after a disappointing 4-8 season where the Spartans lost 8 of their last 9 games. Smith's overall record at MSU was 9-15. He is walking away, though, with more than $30 million, which was left on his 7-year contract. As for Smith's replacement, the Detroit Free Press is reporting MSU plans to hire former Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald. As we enter the final month of 2025, we are getting a better idea of how Michigan's economy is looking in the new year. A new economic outlook report from U of M finds the state hit a growth pause this fall, and that could linger into next year. They think things could pick up again in 2027, but there is a bright side. Economists are not forecasting a recession for the U.S. in the next 2 years. To talk more about the reasons for this growth and how it stalled, we're joined by one of the U of M economists who wrote this forecast, Gabe Ehrlich. Gabe, thank you so much for joining us here. Let's kind of go through the reasons for the pause. Why do you think things are slowing down like this?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. You know, when we look at Michigan's economy, the signals are mixed right now. But one of the reasons that we do expect a little bit of a growth pause as we move into 2026 is that we've seen layoffs announced at the Detroit Hamtramck Factory Zero plant, by GM and some suppliers, related to that announcement. And so, we've had a lot of flux in auto policy, and obviously that hits Michigan especially hard.
So obviously a lot of those are tariff-based. The manufacturers saying that they weren't sure, exactly how things were going to line up. Now we're starting to see some of those dominoes fall. Are you forecasting, do you think that we could see this, you said maybe into 2027, could it be further than that?
We do expect growth to pick back up in 2027, holding roughly flat in 2026 here in Michigan, then picking up in 2027. And, you mentioned the tariffs. And when they were first announced in April, we said, the way that they were configured, this is going to cost Michigan jobs. There have been changes in policy since then. We now think the current configuration of tariffs should be a small boost to domestic auto production. So that, should be positive over a period of many years. But, the chaos in the policy and just the shifts in the policy make it tough in the short run.
You also mentioned that you do not see a recession happening in the next 2 years, which is welcome news because that was something that many people were fearful of.
That's right. Listen, recession's always a risk. It continues to be a risk. But one thing I want to emphasize is when you strip out the noisy parts of GDP, the noise in the economy, the underlying trend has been more steady. And that's going to be true going forward over the next 6 months or so with the government shutdown and all of those things. The momentum in the economy seems to be okay. It's not tremendous, but it's okay. And we do expect that to continue over the next couple of years.
So I do want to ask you, too, and I know this is a little outside the wheelhouse of this conversation, but when you look at, kind of flatlining the economy for an entire year, that also translates directly to the housing market and what happens whether you're buying or selling. Can you kind of walk us through what you think might happen on that front?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, the housing market, it's tough both for buyers and for sellers. The high mortgage rates are really a pain point, and affordability obviously is really tough. And so you might think, well, it's great for sellers because, if you're selling a house, well, you've got a lot of appreciation that you're sitting on, but not if you need to move somewhere else and you need to buy something else, right? It's two sides of the same coin. We do expect somewhat lower mortgage rates as we move over the next couple of years, and that should help some to unthaw the housing market. Sure. But it's going to be a process, a slow process.
If we can apply what you're saying now to job seekers, this isn't the greatest news if we're kind of flatlining things and they're trying to find an opening. There aren't going to be many.
That's right. And, it's almost just like the housing market, what I just said. If you have a job right now, your chances of being laid off are pretty low right now. Layoffs are low, but the problem is if you're looking for a job, hiring rates are also low. And so again, it's a little bit of a frozen job market, and that can be pretty tough if you're on the outside looking in right now.
Yeah. So you mentioned that by 2027, you anticipate things to kind of pick back up a little bit. Let me ask you, without being rude, why? Why do we say in 2027 is the magic bullet?
Absolutely. So a couple things. One is, I already mentioned, we think that the tariffs have kind of settled into a somewhat more favorable configuration for the auto industry. Another reason is the financial penalties for missing corporate average fuel economy standards, or so-called CAFE standards, have been eliminated right now. That should help the Detroit 3 automakers because, they make a disproportionate number of low mileage vehicles, and that in turn should help Michigan as we go forward.
Gotcha. Okay, so one last question for you then. And again, we're really diving into the weeds here, which I love that we're doing. There's also so much uncertainty in EV manufacturing for the big three. I don't even know if they know what the correct answer is at this point. How does that affect, what their plans are, and then how does that trickle down to the employees and what the market's going to look like?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I don't think anybody knows the answer. I think that's absolutely part of why we're forecasting our growth pause next year is, when you look at the way that policy has shifted on EVs, it's got the Detroit 3 and all automakers rethinking plans. And that causes some pain in the short run. And, I do have to mention, I mentioned that we think that the elimination of the CAFE standards should be good for job growth in Michigan. Obviously, there are environmental costs and trade-offs to that policy. So, I have to mention that. But, we focus on the Michigan economy, and we do think that, it's a net boost to employment here in Michigan.
Yeah. Okay. Gabe Ehrlich with U of M. Thank you so much for your time. And we're probably going to keep on speed dial. I want to talk to you again in the next couple of months to see how things are panning out.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Well, we are keeping an eye on the weather with more snow expected today. Ashley is tracking the exact timing and the impact it could have on tomorrow morning's commute. We're also tracking the best Cyber Monday deals, how you can use AI to help with your shopping when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. After a busy weekend of in-store shopping, Cyber Monday is today. Retailers are pushing to keep the momentum going after a record-breaking Black Friday. Billions of dollars spent, $11 billion online alone. Shoppers also spent a record $6.4 billion online on Thanksgiving Day. That is the busiest, and the busiest hours from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. $12.5 million poured into online carts every single minute. And this year's Cyber Monday sales are expected to top $14 billion, and many shoppers are turning to AI to help with the gift buying process. So let's kind of try this out and see if it works. So we've got producer Mary behind the helm here. If you're looking for a gift for, let's say, a tween who loves skincare, tech, and the newest fashion trends, all you have to do is type that in. So ideas for a tween who loves skincare, tech, and newest fashion trends, and she forgot to log in. That's okay. All right, so a tween who loves, here's some ideas: skincare and beauty-related fun. So custom skincare kits, a DIY skincare project, at-home facial tools, a skincare journal. I didn't know that was a thing. We'll also do some tech toys and gadgets like a smart beauty device or wearable tech, a mint projector. Oh, a mini projector. Maybe I need some glasses. Add that to my shopping list. Well, as you saw there, all you have to do is type that into ChatGPT. It's going to spit out a bunch of ideas in the weeks leading up to the peak holiday spending. And in fact, ChatGPT maker OpenAI partnered with Walmart and Target. Over half of shoppers said in a recent survey they plan to use AI this year. Some say they're doing it already.
I talk to ChatGPT like they're a human being, and they respond to me the same way.
AI does not know my family as well as I do.
AI is making the shopping experience more simple and easy and automated for our customers.
All righty, now we're taking a live look at Amazon. Here are just some of the deals you can score on that website. Experts say you're going to find the best deals on apparel and computers, and retailers are also using AI to make this shopping easier than ever. We're going to be looking through more deals through the rest of the day. Here is a Hydro Flask travel tumbler that's on quite the sale. Wow, 56% off. Or is that 50% off? I can't read that, Mary. I tell Mary to zoom in and she goes, no, I'm just going to torture you instead. You get to choose the colors and it goes right to your home. We're going to show you some more deals throughout the rest of the show here. Well, the excitement of gift giving can overshadow the importance of quality and safety, especially when it comes to buying toys for babies and kids on a budget. As our Rhonda Walker shows us, Consumer Reports Toy Guide is helping you find safe and fun toys for the little ones at every stage of their development.
If you're thinking about how to stretch your dollars this holiday season, you're not alone, and tariffs have been raising prices for baby gear and other everyday essentials. So when it comes to gifts for babies and kids, Consumer Reports says think quality, not quantity.
We looked for toys designed for open-ended repeat play, developmentally targeted, and safe for specific ages.
For babies, consider a play gym or activity mat. New mom Nicole Guerrero's son loves this one from Baby Einstein.
It's really colorful, it's durable.
It's important to always read labels to ensure that a toy is appropriate for a child's age and development level.
Infants and toddlers explore the world by putting seemingly everything in their mouths. Avoid toys with small parts, strings, or long cords that can pose a choking or strangulation risk.
Once your baby turns 1, stacking and nesting toys are a fun way to build coordination and learn how shapes fit together. By 2, your toddler might love toys that encourage problem solving and gross motor play. Puzzles, pretend play, and music sets help them develop these skills and have some fun in the process. Three-nagers have minds of their own, so helper toys like this play kitchen are great to channel their independence. Consider outdoor toys for your 4-year-old. This toss and catch game set keeps them active and gets them ready for bedtime later. This is also a good age for toys that promote STEM, science, tech, engineering, and math. And books are an option at every age because a love of reading is the perfect gift for every child.
Of course, that was Rhonda Walker reporting. Remember to check the age range set for items before buying. All toys for kids 12 and younger must be third-party tested and certified by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. You can double-check toys on the Commission's site, especially if you're buying anything used. Well, more snow is about to fall on top of what's already on the ground. Ashley is tracking that and a huge dip in temperatures. And it certainly looks and feels like the holiday season in downtown Campus Martius. Now, they're actually in the running for a big honor. We'll explain that when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. A live look now at the ice rink at Campus Martius, and it's in the running to be named the best ice skating rink in the country, but you have less than 3 hours to cast your vote. Head over to 10 Best website, the 10 Best website before noon to help the rink take that top spot. If you want to skate, the rink is now open 7 days a week starting at 11 a.m. It's $12 for adults, $9 for kids, and 12 and under. For kids 12 and under, I should say, and skate rentals are $6. Okay, let's talk about that forecast because as it looks pretty nice outside, it's a decent day. However, temperatures going down and down and down. It's not going to stop until later in the work week. Hey, Ash.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, happy meteorological winter. That's December 1st for our record keeping, and December bringing in an Arctic tundra. As we look at the snow cover, all of Michigan from the UP to the lower peninsula under at least a coating of snow. The deeper shade of blue that you see here across southeastern Michigan indicates mainly about a 4 to 6 inch snow depth across the area. West side of the state, areas that you see in pink, upward of a foot. The purple about 8 inches to about 12 inches, and otherwise a good portion of the UP has more than a foot of snow. And we're going to be adding to that depth as we head into the overnight. Not as much snow as we saw over the weekend, but nonetheless, we're definitely dealing with the chance for some light snow accumulation. So snow totals over the weekend, just to recap in case you didn't see these totals, about 6 inches in Lake Orion, White Lake, and Flushing. Washtenaw County got quite a bit of that snow as well, just under that 6 inch mark, but more than about 5.5 inches from Chelsea, Pinckney into Ann Arbor. Even Manchester picking up 5.5 inches. Novi, 5.2 inches, right at 5 inches in Lapeer and Howell, Dearborn Heights, just over about 4.5 inches of snow. So it was enough for a lot of folks to make snowmen across the area. And this one, a picture of Aiden and his snowman with the Old English D. So thank you to Ed for sharing this on MyPics. And we continue to urge you to send in your fun winter pictures via MyPics on clickondetroit.com and our Forewarn Weather app. Otherwise, your weather story looking ahead to what's going to be a very chilly week. We get more accumulation tonight. We'll talk about totals and timeline in just a moment here, but staying very chilly all week long with highs at least 10 degrees below average. In fact, I don't think we get above the freezing mark over the next several days. Then we could have a little more minor accumulation midweek with rounds of snow in the forecast. So about 30 for the afternoon high today, holding on to that winter gray cloud cover. And it's going to be well after sunset late this evening that we start to see some of that light snow arrive. Here's the timeline. So I'm going to stop the clock just after 10. That's where you see that we're draped with very light snow, but it'll be persistent over at least a few hours. That'll bring some accumulation. Really doesn't look like it lifts much farther north than M59, and a lot of this is out of here before we even get to 6 o'clock in the morning. So as long as roads get treated, I think we should be okay, but still some of those surface street sidewalks could be slick tomorrow. I would say give yourself a few extra minutes in the morning, set the alarm clocks early, whether it's to just throw some salt down in your driveway or leave a little extra early if you think your roads haven't been treated. That snowfall forecast shows that we're just getting a dusting in the thumb at most, but around M59, between about a half an inch to an inch, you get south of I-696, and that's where I think we're in that 1 to 1.5 range. Winter car supplies, just a good reminder, make sure that you have all of this in your car, from first aid kits to car batteries, blankets, sandbags, because you never know when you could get stranded if you just spin out on some of those slick roads. If you are traveling, please note that there are winter weather advisories and winter storm watches draping areas just south of the state line for today into tomorrow, so that could hinder some travel. Otherwise, that's that brushing of some light accumulation come late Wednesday, but it looks like we'll get a more impactful system by the later part of the weekend or even early next week, as you see right here by Saturday night towards the Chicagoland area. So we'll keep you posted on that. Here's your 7-day forecast. Like I said, it's below average. We fall into the upper 20s for highs Thursday, Friday, with those feels like temperatures likely in the low teens and single digits.
All right, Ash, thank you much. Still ahead, new concerns about how smartphones impact a child's health. And we know if Detroit wants to continue attracting big events, it needs more places for people to stay. We're taking an inside look at how one of the new hotels downtown is going up. And as we head to break, another look at some of the Cyber Monday deals happening. We are heading to Zenni, which is the spot to be if you need a pair of glasses. They're offering a buy one, get one 40% off deal, and some of the glasses go for as low as $12. You can even get a great pair of sunglasses for a great price. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. Let's go over to Ann Arbor at the campus of U of M. It is one of the top 25 U.S. universities for international enrollment. And now there are concerns about that, though. In the fall 2025 semester, new international student enrollment fell 17%. Experts say it's largely because of the Trump administration's changes to the student visa policy. It's projected to cost the economy more than $1 billion. 9:25 here on Monday. Now to a new study that sheds a light on how smartphones are impacting children. Getting a child a smartphone at a younger age could put kids at a higher risk of health complications. That's the findings of a new study published today in the Journal of Pediatrics. It looked at more than 10,000 12-year-olds, and the study found kids who get phones at a young age are more likely to face obesity, depression, and insufficient sleep. Many experts suggest parents hold off until older age to get that child a phone. Let's head downtown now. The Motor City is known for a lot of things, and right now the city is booming. In recent years, high-end hotels moved into the city from the Godfrey to the Cambria. In the summer, though, Michigan Central announced plans to bring in a new hotel, and despite all the options, we are learning the city of Detroit is behind when it comes to attracting major events. Here's Shante Passmore with the race to build more hotels with more rooms.
Hey there, people must be wondering what we are talking about right now because after all, we do have all 4 major teams here. We've hosted the NFL draft. Every year we host a Grand Prix, but still the city wants to host other premier events. And right now we're showing you what's standing in its way.
The secret's out. Detroit is the place to be.
What do you think so far?
I think it's a very lovely city.
Whether for fun or work.
I think we'll do this every year.
Oh, it's been that good of an experience for you.
Everybody was really, really happy. The conference rooms were really easy to, have together and everyone in the same room and lots of fun space. So yeah, it was a great time.
That's what Visit Detroit's Claude Molinari likes to hear. But he wants the Motor City to move vertically.
What's interesting is we have a large number of hotel rooms in Southeast Michigan, over 46,000. So we're not short there.
Where it is short, the number of hotels connected to Huntington Place and the Suburban Collection Showplace, which Visit Detroit says the Novi location attracts 2 million visitors per year. Part of the solution is on the way. Local 4 got a rare look of the soon-to-be JW Marriott, Detroit Water Square.
This is going to be 600 guest rooms, including 44 really great suites.
The luxury hotel is expected to also feature a gym, pool, spa, along with multiple restaurants, ballrooms, and event spaces. A showstopper, a 360 view spanning the city and river.
How amazing will it be to watch the fireworks from here?
Truly, the view up and down the river and across to Canada is just, you can't beat it.
This urban oasis expanding its horizon to welcome newcomers.
It is going to be amazing, guys. And listen, 600 rooms is quite a bit, but even when this project is all said and done, we'll still be about 200 rooms behind Indianapolis because guess what? They're building an 800-room hotel, a major goal for Visit Detroit. It wants to host something like the Big Ten Football Championship, which is so appropriate, right? But it looks like the race to build is paying off because this luxury hotel is slated to open the first quarter of 2027, and a few months later, we're hosting the Final Four. We're in downtown Detroit. I'm Shante Passmore, Local 4.
All right, Shante, thank you much. Still ahead, we are going to talk politics and 2 pivotal races here in Michigan, a race for governor and for an open Senate seat. And then a neighborhood crime alert, a warning about recent car break-ins in Oakland County, what drivers should be doing to protect themselves.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
And welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. Now to more from a conversation about the issues impacting us in the political world, nationally and here in Michigan. Jason Colthorpe gathered a panel of insiders to talk on Flashpoint. Here's what they had to say about the Senate and governor's race in Michigan.
Let's start with the Senate race. A couple of the recent headlines here. Mike Rogers recently claiming his loss to Slotkin was stolen over ballots somehow showing up. Haley Stevens, meantime, jumped on Alyssa Slotkin's call to ban all presidential pardons. Let me go around the table this way, Portia. Handicap the Senate race where we stand right now.
So it changes, and it feels like it's moving so fast. Sometimes you can't really keep up with it. I think, Mike Rogers going back to this, it was a fractured election, and, there were ballots that showed up late. I thought this was gone. I thought that he was done with this.
He was on Flashpoint, and he never mentioned it. I would have asked him.
And here he is bringing it back, and I don't think that's a path to victory for him. I don't know why he feels like he needs to inject that. Maybe he's hoping to get Trump support, but he already has it. So,
yeah,
I don't see trying to keep it, you're right, but I don't see, there's nobody else challenging him on the Republican side. So, I don't think he's going to lose that support from Trump, and I don't know what it does to the base for him that he would talk about an election that didn't, that there were false ballots at the election box. So I think he needs to pivot away from that and tell us what he's going to do. He did lose a very close race before, and it's going to be difficult to beat him. I think on the Democratic side, we've got 3 very good candidates running, and we're going to have to figure that out in terms of who's going to be the nominee. But
sounds like Gary Peters' answer from a week ago. I'll let them figure it out.
Let them figure it out. That's what we do. We let them figure it out. But I think, Mike Rogers jumping in to make this case doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Where are we at in the Senate race, Jay?
Well, I will just say on that, he was speaking to a small grassroots group. This wasn't some big policy announcement or a part of his campaign, so I wouldn't read too much into it. This is the greatest hits with the base, so I think he was just giving him a little red meat in a small meeting. I do think he's very well positioned. The fundraising needs to get better. This is the #1 pickup in America for Republicans when it comes to the U.S. Senate, and so far his fundraising has lagged given the situation that he has before him. And there are 3 well-funded, credible Democrats. I don't see any of the 3 getting out between now and August. History is not our friend. Historically, out of 20 elections, second term of a president, the incumbent party has lost 18 times. One thing people are not paying attention to is Republican candidates and the national committees are outraising Democrats for the first time in a long time consistently, but also Trump's raised $2 billion already, and we've got a year until the election. So that could be $3 billion that the Republicans have that we haven't had in the past. And Rogers only lost by 19,000 votes, but he was outspent $52 million to $13 million. That's a 4-to-1. Huge. So even if it were 2-to-1, he would have won that thing. And so the resources Republicans have this time are much stronger than the past decade.
Orlando, do you see anybody with the momentum in the Senate race on the Democratic side right now?
I'm following the money. And so if we look at what Representative Haley Stevens has raised, $4.7 million, she's outraised Mike Rogers and her Democratic candidate, Mallory McMorrow. Mallory is at $3.8 million.
Abdul
is at $3.5 million. I'm following the money. And, the money raised helps to control or solve for the outcome of these elections. And so she's up there.
The Senate race, yeah. Caitlin, do you feel like this is the time now? We get to the end of the year here. It's maybe time for that first offensive. Our first big one, I should say.
Yeah, no, I think Mike Rogers is holding back too much. I think he could honestly position himself as maybe the leader of the Republican Party here in Michigan and really push the messaging forward, push himself out there more. I mean, there is a challenger in the primary, if she gets signatures and whatnot, but he doesn't have that tense primary to get through like he did last time. So I don't think he should be even having little slip-ups like about 2020. I don't think that should come up at all. I think he should really be looking at the future of the party to keep Trump's support and bring along all the other messaging that's there. On the Democratic side, I think the momentum is behind Abdul el-Sayed. I mean, I think he's an exciting candidate, especially with kind of the coalitions and the unique makeup we have here in Metro Detroit, he kind of cuts across a lot of lines. So I know he doesn't have as much money, but I think Mallory is having a hard time, and I think Haley Stevens, I just don't think she's running a good campaign. I don't think she's a great candidate, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, he's running to the left of them, and he's a Mamdani-like figure.
Yes.
And so he's definitely somebody to watch for sure.
And Mamdani's election makes him really feel good about the possibility of being elected in the place.
Absolutely.
And Republicans are rooting for El Sayed.
I know.
Of course.
We know
of
that.
course.
Let's dive into the governor's race. We've had a couple of debates for the Republicans. And last week, Caitlin, I'll start with you. Eric Nesbitt calling on the Federal Department of Justice to oversee elections in Michigan next year. This one feels, considering the last 3 secretaries of state have been Republicans who oversaw big elections with their names on it. Is this just Nesbitt trying to knock Benson down a peg as maybe she's the perceived frontrunner there?
I think so, but I think that is probably his ultimate goal. And if she weren't going to be a competitor to him, likely, then he wouldn't be doing it. But I think there are really big concerns about her trustworthiness, her accountability, her ability to run efficient elections. She's had huge conflicts of interest in the past, even just in the 2024 election. So his questions are legitimate. I think it's good that he's sticking his neck out there, and it might come down to those two.
Benson, do you think Benson's conflicted, Portia?
I don't think so. I think, listen, she's won great elections here in Michigan. I think that this going back to the past and continuing to sort of rethink about what happened in the past elections is just people putting stuff out there. I think it's all about trying to figure out how he can bring Jocelyn Benson down. We know she's a front runner in this election. I know that he knows that this is going to be a tough race for him should he make it through the primary. But I think there are a lot of Republicans that are going to give him a hard-fought race to get to that general election, and he needs to be worried about those competitors first.
That's a deep race. Do you feel like maybe, I also crept into my head, maybe Eric Nesbitt thought, I'm tired of seeing people just automatically think John James is the front runner here, and then this kind of move.
I think it was to provoke some reaction and remind people that he's out there running, and I don't think John's running an amazing campaign right now. It's very much prevent defense, kind of. But I think, when it comes to Jocelyn Benson, what people forget when it comes to the conspiracy theories of 2020, she was an active participant in that. The courts after the election ruled against her multiple times that she violated the law in the way she executed her duties as the Secretary of State. She sent out absentee ballots to every registered voter, even when they legally were not allowed to receive those ballots. She instructed clerks.
The overseas?
No, this was here domestically, because she used COVID to unilaterally send absentee ballots to every voter in the state. That was illegal. Second, she instructed clerks, county clerks, township clerks, city clerks, to ignore the law that said compare the signatures on their ballot to the signatures that they have on file. So when people say the election was stolen, we know that those ballots were inserted into the count, but we have no idea who they were within that. So to say that maybe there was some illegal ballots, absolutely. But that is 2 occasions in when the courts came after the election and said that she violated the law. So I would argue she cannot be trusted based on her track record, not partisan political considerations.
What I was going to finish on this topic, Orlando, speaking of candidates people don't want to overlook, Lieutenant Governor's still in this race too, by the way.
The Lieutenant Governor is still in the race. And interestingly enough, he is beginning to run a campaign to the left of the Democratic center. His social media posts lately have been really, really hilarious. He's taken to social media. There's a quarter zip trend. The young people are doing quarter zips in matcha. He has quarter zips in free college. And then he did some trend with Representative Jasmine Crockett, which was really surprising to see. And so, I think he's fighting. He's fighting to stay in the race.
And you can watch all of Flashpoint right now over at clickondetroit.com and on our YouTube page. Still ahead, a neighborhood crime alert where in Oakland County, police are warning about a recent string of car break-ins. But before we go to break, a live look at, producer Mary says never mind. Trading just began for the stocks, though. We'll talk about the stocks when we come back after this. Now to a neighborhood crime alert right now. Royal Oak police are investigating a recent string of stolen items out of cars. There were 3 incidents spanning just over a weekend on South Rembrandt, East Hudson, and South Vermont. Investigators tell Local 4 all of this was preventable. Shante Passmore has what else police are saying and how the community is reacting.
Hey there, it's no secret the bad guys are always looking for an opportunity to commit a crime. And right now, Royal Oak police say don't give them a reason to. Instead, block your ride. Just past 2 a.m., what's this guy doing in someone's driveway? The Ring camera video shows a prowler going from car to car. The tipster sharing these images of somebody clearly rummaging inside. Thankfully, nothing taken. But not the same story elsewhere in Royal Oak.
Sometimes you could say it's organized because it's obvious there's a crew of people. Sometimes it's just petty opportunistic theft that occurs.
Royal Oak Police shares how in the overnight hours of November 15th, it received multiple reports of stolen items out of cars. Locations include the 600 block of South Rembrandt, the 2200 block of East Hudson, and 200 block of South Vermont. The thieves made off with jewelry and wallets.
You can't trust anybody.
The common denominator, unlocked vehicles.
This general pocket of Royal Oak feels very secure, but I acknowledge that we live in a big city.
Royal Oak Police tells Local 4 it's not seeing an uptick in the crime trend. The goal, to keep it that way.
It's common sense. You don't leave a laptop or a wallet with credit cards in it. I think sometimes people, maybe they think they lock their, I don't know, I don't understand that one.
Yeah, it's just common sense. You really want to make sure that your car is locked. In fact, it's really the first step in deterring crime. And some people may say, you know, I don't want them to have to bust through my windows in case they really want to rummage through and take something out of my vehicle. But Royal Oak Police says most often the crooks will keep moving if they know that your car is locked. We're in Royal Oak. I'm Shante Passmore, Local 4.
All right, Shante, thank you. Changes could be coming for anybody who receives SNAP benefits. Millions of people may soon have to meet new work rules to keep the benefits. The Republican-backed Big Beautiful Bill requires at least 80 hours of activity each month for a much wider group of people. A Congressional Budget Office report finds nearly 2.5 million people will no longer get benefits every month. Some people could lose food aid as soon as January, but state officials say the full impact will unfold as recipients hit their next recertification deadlines. And starting today, drivers going into Canada on the Blue Water Bridge will have to pay $1 more. The eastbound toll goes up to $5 per car. MDOT says it will cover rising maintenance and operation costs. Price changes started last year for the first time in 14 years. Discounts are still available for Edge Pass commuters. Still ahead, what was hiding under a man's home that would scare just about anybody, and a live look at Romulus. Good morning, everybody there. As we're tracking some more snow heading towards our area and the airport, how much we can expect tonight and who may see the most coming up next.
When the snow started falling, we were already on it.
Late afternoon into Sunday morning, that is the worst time to travel.
Our forewarned weather team saw the storm days in advance on the busiest travel day of the year. Our crews were in the elements bringing you real-time updates.
Snow's been coming down since about 3 this afternoon.
When it matters most, you can count on the team that's here for you because helping you and your family stay safe is what we do. The forewarned weather team, always watching, always tracking. Local 4, expect more.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, can you imagine this? A homeowner in Altadena, California got the surprise of his life. Look at this video when a large bear made itself comfortable in the crawl space under his home. Video captures the black bear's sneaky moments here. You'll see in a moment. You can see right there as he tries to get in. The homeowner installed cameras this summer when he saw some things near the entrance of the crawl space were just kind of out of place. He just captured the bear coming in and going at all hours of the day. Look at him try to squeeze back out. It's like, okay, there we go. The homeowner describes what happened when he approached the side of the house.
I went around to put batteries in the camera, and this huge growl comes out from under the crawl space, and I just went running. I was so scared. I mean, it was the most amazing sound you've ever heard, this huge roar like a lion with a hiss on top of it. I went back in and called the sheriff, and they said to call not animal control, but Fish and Game and Wildlife, and so I called them. They're on vacation till Monday.
Well, it's Monday. I hope he gets the help he needs now that people are back in the office. I just love let me just squeeze a little bit here. All right, live look right now outside. The temperatures are squeezing, but in the wrong direction right now, all the way down. Ashley has your forecast. Hey, Ash.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, happy meteorological winter. That's December 1st for our record keeping, and December bringing in an Arctic tundra. As we look at the snow cover, all of Michigan from the UP to the lower peninsula under at least a coating of snow. The deeper shade of blue that you see here across southeastern Michigan indicates mainly about a 4 to 6 inch snow depth across the area. West side of the state, areas that you see in pink, upward of a foot. The purple about 8 inches to about 12 inches, and otherwise a good portion of the UP has more than a foot of snow. And we're going to be adding to that depth as we head into the overnight. Not as much snow as we saw over the weekend, but nonetheless, we're definitely dealing with the chance for some light snow accumulation. So snow totals over the weekend, just to recap in case you didn't see these totals, about 6 inches in Lake Orion, White Lake, and Flushing. Washtenaw County got quite a bit of that snow as well, just under that 6 inch mark, but more than about 5.5 inches from Chelsea, Pinckney into Ann Arbor. Even Manchester picking up 5.5 inches. Novi, 5.2 inches, right at 5 inches in Lapeer, and Howell, Dearborn Heights, just over about 4.5 inches of snow. So it was enough for a lot of folks to make snowmen across the area. And this one, a picture of Aiden and his snowman with the Old English D. So thank you to Ed for sharing this on My Picks. And we continue to urge you to send in your fun winter pictures via My Picks on clickondetroit.com and our Forewarned Weather app. Otherwise, your weather story looking ahead to what's going to be a very chilly week. We get more accumulation tonight. We'll talk about totals and timeline in just a moment here, but staying very chilly all week long with highs at least 10 degrees below average. In fact, I don't think we get above the freezing mark over the next several days. Then we could have a little more minor accumulation midweek with rounds of snow in the forecast. So about 30 for the afternoon high today, holding on to that winter gray cloud cover. And it's going to be well after sunset late this evening that we start to see some of that light snow arrive. Here's the timeline. So I'm going to stop the clock just after 10. That's where you see that we're draped with very light snow, but it'll be persistent over at least a few hours. That'll bring some accumulation. Really doesn't look like it lifts much farther north than M59, and a lot of this is out of here before we even get to 6 o'clock in the morning. So as long as roads get treated, I think we should be okay, but still some of those surface street sidewalks could be slick tomorrow. I would say give yourself a few extra minutes in the morning, set the alarm clocks early, whether it's to just throw some salt down in your driveway or leave a little extra early if you think your roads haven't been treated. That snowfall forecast shows that we're just getting a dusting in the thumb at most, but around M59, between about a half an inch to an inch, you get south of I-696, and that's where I think we're in that 1 to 1.5 range. Winter car supplies, just a good reminder, make sure that you have all of this in your car, from first aid kits to car batteries, blankets, sandbags, because you never know when you could get stranded if you just spin out on some of those slick roads. If you are traveling, please note that there are winter weather advisories and winter storm watches draping areas just south of the state line for today into tomorrow, so that could hinder some travel. Otherwise, that's that brushing of some light accumulation come late Wednesday, but it looks like we'll get a more impactful system by the later part of the weekend or even early next week, as you see right here by Saturday night towards the Chicagoland area. So we'll keep you posted on that. Here's your 7-day forecast. Like I said, it's below average. We fall into the upper 20s for highs Thursday, Friday, with those feels like temperatures likely in the low teens and single digits.
All right, Ash, thank you much. Did you go to the movies over the long holiday weekend? It was a big weekend at the box office. Which movie just took the top spot from Wicked? And we're checking with the team from Live the D to see what they have planned for their show today. And before we go to break, we are tracking some deals for holiday gifts this Cyber Monday. Take a look at Home Depot. You can score a deal on a heated vest. Oh, Mary, will you buy that for me? Thank you much. Welcome back, everybody. 9:54 on Monday. Time now for your box office results. The first animated kid-friendly film in months just hit theaters just in time for Thanksgiving weekend, and families are loving it. So is Darnell, apparently. Coming in at third, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, pulled in $10 million for third place. Wicked for Good dropped to second, but still made only $93 million, bringing its domestic total to $270 million. And topping the charts, Zootopia 2 debuted strong with $156 million over the holiday weekend. So much more coming up throughout the day here on Local 4, but we also have Kim and Tati from Live in the D. Did you see any of those movies?
No.
None of them. Not Wicked, not Zootopia 2.
No, but there's still time.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, I had a really busy holiday weekend, so I'm planning on doing it sometime before. Maybe I'll see them on Christmas.
You could, or hopefully something good comes out on Christmas.
Just in real time.
Exactly. Like, when am I going to get there? I really want to see Wicked for Good.
You haven't? Okay, all right. Have you haven't seen that?
I have not, and it's funny because we were looking for a movie to see this weekend. So I think last year we saw Gladiator.
Oh, okay.
So I don't mind going to the movies on a Thanksgiving or Christmas or the day before the day. It's just something to fill the time in. But yeah.
I struggle right now. I love going to the movies. Like, it is one of my things. I love to go, bring the kids, get some popcorn and relax, pick the best seats.
Absolutely.
I also love sitting on my couch.
Same. That's why HBO. Home box office.
I mean, there's that, but I was telling Kim a couple weeks ago, like, I want to go to the movies.
Right?
I want to go to them, but there has to be something worth it.
Absolutely.
For you to go and take the whole family out.
Apparently Zootopia 2 is really good.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to see
Bring
action.
all the nieces and nephews.
I want to see action. I want to see an adult movie.
Wants to go to the road.
Do I? Do I? Okay.
All right, Live on the D, we got 60 seconds left.
60 seconds.
We're talking about polar bears, a 21 and up event at the zoo. Yes, have I piqued your interest? It's something really fun. We have a really fun What's the Buzz as well. We're talking about the budgeting
for the holidays. I mean, I interviewed an expert years ago, and she said there's no reason to be surprised. Christmas is the same day every single year.
Yeah, but the prices aren't.
That's true.
They go up,
That's true. That's a good point.
But you have to make a budget, and this is what we're working with.
I know,
Real
the
quick.
budget's just ridiculous.
Nick, let me tell you, I was at the parade on Thursday with my family, and every float that went by, my dad was like, and I know about this one because of Nick Monticelli. He did a report. I know all about it. And I was like, good job, Nick.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Thank
We
you.
salute you.
So, Julia.
Oh, it wasn't the father-in-law. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, Mr. D.
That one. Yep. All right. Well.
All right. Live the D starts in an hour and 3 minutes. Thank you for joining us here on Local 4 Live. We'll see you tomorrow.